Hey, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Matt. And congratulations on a decade.
As a young boy, I really didn't appreciate or know who Gene Roddenberry was in terms of Star Trek and fandom.
What was it like playing our helmsman?
It was a really surreal experience.
You know, you can't beat a sci-fi fan base.
They'd give me like a new set of ribbons and like things, and I go, what the hell are these? They go, oh yeah, you got promoted. And I go, what for? Like typing under duress or something?
I wasn't the tactical officer, I was the armory officer.
Oh, well, excuse me, I do apologise.
3 greatest names in television.
Richard Dean Anderson.
Aw, look at you.
When you make a film, you don't know which ones are going to be classics and which aren't.
How cool was that opener? Welcome to the brand new Trek Zone Spotlight for the second to last time here in this brand new studio. I'm going to build another new one in the next couple of weeks. Welcome to the Trek Zone Spotlight. Matt Miller with you. I've been excited for Oz Comic Con for a while now. They're in Melbourne this weekend, and joining me from the media room is Dr. Radek Zelenka, otherwise known as David Nichol himself. David, welcome to Australia. Thanks for coming out, and welcome to TrekZone.org.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Now, you were born in the Czech Republic, but emigrated to Canada when you were very young. Was that a tough transition for you?
I was an infant when we came to Canada. I was just born in Prague, but I was literally like 2 years old, so there was no transition at all. Canada, much like Australia, is a nation full of immigrants, so we were just one of the ones that came out way back when.
Now, you've had some notable cameos and guest spots since 2000. 7 Days, Eureka, Arrow, Supernatural, Fringe. Can you pick just one as your favourite?
Oh goodness, they were all quite wonderful. I remember Once Upon a Time working with Barbara Hershey. That was quite a fun scene. The one where she turns me into a fish. We did that. It was supposed to be a one-day shoot, but it ended up being 3 days because we were cancelling for weather all the time, and the weather being what it was in Vancouver at the time. Let me see, what other ones? Fringe, Supernatural was a lot of fun. Supernatural was interesting because it's got a massive fan base, as you all know, as some of you are watching right now, I'm sure. It was a late night shoot, about 2 o'clock in the morning by the time they got around to the scenes that I was doing, and we were filming in a very quiet suburb in Vancouver, and when they brought me out to the set, there was this group of people there at 2 in the morning, pitch dark. And I thought, this is odd. I don't remember there being any extras or any other people because it was a small, intimate scene that we were doing, a scene in the kitchen. Well, they weren't extras. They were fans. They were fans that were waiting there and standing there all night watching for a glimpse of the boys. So I just had to excuse me, pardon me, get my way to set. So that's interesting how a show like that can build up a massive fan base.
Did anyone recognise you, or were they all there to see the boys?
No, no, that was funny. I had my coffee and I just sort of excuse me. Nobody did.
Now, when you come out to conventions, do you find that it's your guest roles or the role on Atlantis that draws the crowds in?
Tough to say. I mean, Atlantis was 10 years ago that we started. 5 years ago since we were cancelled. So I suppose that is the cornerstone as it was. It was a great character. It was a lot of fun, and working with David Hewlett, except for working with David Hewlett. Oh no, you know what I mean. But the other work has been fine as well, tremendous. As I mentioned, Supernatural it's always a surprise to see which shows have the big fans and fandoms and some don't. So.
Are you surprised by all the fans that want to come out and see you?
Yeah, I'm always surprised that people want to come out and. But I mean, when I first started conventions, I was I was completely taken aback by the size of the community, by the creativity in the community, by the passion in the community, and the fact that it's worldwide is remarkable. I mean, I've met fans from Israel to Ireland to Tasmania, where I just came from this morning. So there's fans all over the world, and I've been doing this a couple of years now, so it doesn't come as a surprise anymore, but it's still quite a phenomenon. It really is.
Now, of course, everyone knows you as Dr. Zelenka from Atlantis. What was it like to work with, you did touch on it there.
What was it like to work with David Hewlett is what you can ask.
Tori Higginson, Joe Flanagan, all those guys.
Tori, I haven't seen Tori in such a long time. Wonderful. Joe, Jason Momoa, great people to work with. And it's been a long time. It's been a long time now that we work together. We see each other every now and then at conventions. I just saw David last month in Germany, and I understand he's going to be here this weekend, so I'm looking forward to seeing him again. It's always fun to catch up.
He didn't want to catch up with me, though.
He didn't?
No.
Have you ever spoken to him already?
No. Well, I asked, but obviously schedules are tight, but
yes.
That would have been funny to put you two together, I think.
Oh, yeah, well, you might still get him. I'll talk him into it. It's okay.
Thank you. Now, you were always listed as a recurring character. Did it feel that way, or were you just part of the extended family?
Well, both. I did feel like I was part of the family in the end, but no, I never knew whether I would be continuing in the show from day to day. I mean, it's a dangerous place to be a recurring character because you're just one laser beam or one meteor away from not being a recurring character. So, as I usually say, when it's the last episode of the season, just make sure you stand beside Joe Flanagan, because the chances of him being blown up are rare. So no, I mean, it was always episode to episode, and I had no idea whether I would be in the next one as well. So it was luck that I managed to last as long as I did.
I'm glad you said standing next to Joe at the end of the season, because obviously if you stood next to Tori, well, there was no real guarantee, was there?
Well, actually, there was no guarantee if you stood around next to anybody in that show that you'd stick around. So I mean, Game of Thrones, we started it. Come on.
A quick question. Jason Momoa obviously stars in Game of Thrones now, and he has a lot of, shall we say, costumeless appearances. Did you see more of him on the Atlantis set than we do on Game of Thrones?
Well, on Atlantis, he was just he was a young pup when he was starting out on Atlantis. We taught him everything he knows. Come on, Momoa. Give me a break. He was only this big when he was when he was on Atlantis. No, I mean, I didn't have too many scenes with him, so I mean, I just knew him from the set, and we'd you can't help but bump into him every now and then. What a character! He's a great guy. I mean, I've gotten to know him more, ironically, through conventions and shows like this than I did when we were working together. Because again, we often wouldn't have days at the same time, and so there's a few times that we'd pass each other on set, and we didn't have too many scenes together, but.
And lastly, David, the question that you get asked all the time, what's your most favourite episode of Atlantis?
All of them, right? No, that doesn't count. There was an episode called Adrift, which was a lot of fun just because of the tech involved in that. That was a fun shoot. That was the one where Joe throws me across the chasm, which was basically green paint on the studio floor. That was a fun shoot to do because we were all on these suspended cranes to simulate the zero G. That was a fun one, and any of the episodes where I had a chance to work with David Hewlett. I mean, come on, it was always a lot of fun to do.
Is that a man crush going on?
No, what's the opposite of man crush? Crush man, maybe. Maybe that.
Fantastic, David. Thanks so much for your time. Enjoy Melbourne and have fun with the convention.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
September 1966. One opening monologue.
Space. The final frontier.
One unforgettable theme tune. September 2016. TrekZone.org will celebrate 50 years since the premiere. In a big way.